I've drawn this quite small, and there's been quite a lot of controversy about this, and people don't realise that. So if I ask you the question, how many of these cookies and many third parties do you think there'd be on a site?
On one site?
On one page, one site.
I'm going to think you've simplified that. You've got 3 or 4, I'd say maybe 6 or 7. Every
one of those gives you a tiny amount of money. So there's been quite a lot of controversy from dictionary.com as a website, which a Wall Street Journal article just said, pointed out had 200 of these.
200 cookies?
200 third-party cookies added. Okay, so these sites are often principally about providing you information to allow the advertising industry to capture your preferences and deliver information to you. The advertising agencies quite rightly would say this is about targeting the advertising so that you can actually enhance the advertising experience as well. But the difficulty comes from the complexity behind the scenes. So what's happening with those cookies and the knowledge of those cookies and who's selling those cookies to each other in order to do this. So part of that is understanding not just, that these are targeted to you, but you might be getting additional things targeted to you that you might not want. Intercepting these and understanding what people know about you becomes important. And also how those things might impact your life long term. I mean, that's an issue about all of our digital information, how it might get used and how it might get used in different sorts of ways. So the main revenue stream for these adverts is often what's called click-through. So basically the people who put the advert out pay per times people click at it. Now this has been problematic in itself. So there's been debates about what's called click-through fraud. People actually clicking through to run up a bill on a competitor. Okay, so there are ways in which you kind of try and stop that being done automatically by a machine and making sure it's by a human. But really what the advertisers want and need is much more information about this. So they would be interested, for example, in how long you look at an advert. They'd be interested in the gender and age group and age profiles of the people that are responding to ads and not responding to ads. They'd be interested also on the sequence of reading a page and then looking at an advert. All of these are really useful information to them. And so part of the controversy here is, given they're interested in trying to find out more and more about this, there's obviously a motivation there to understand this. And are we comfortable with that? Are we just as comfortable with understanding that? If I link this to a research example, this might kind of explain a research example. So there's a field of computing called effective computing, and work that's been done in a number of places, most notably at MIT's Media Lab, have looked at the ways in which you could use a webcam to actually just look at the face of somebody looking at a screen and then decide whether they were happy or whether they were sad. So they've developed a system where you can actually download, look at a video and do the equivalent of what used to have to be done manually by focus groups by seeing the bits of a video that make you happy and make you sad. So they've been serving video ads to people and watching their reactions on the screen. So as these adverts get more sophisticated, more and more of that understanding each other and understanding what the reactions are has to happen. And so I think the big question is, how much do we want that to happen? And how aware do we need to be that that's happening? You could be very sensationalist about this. Those of you who've ever read 1984 will remember that part of this involved every TV having a camera. Okay? If you go in and buy a TV now, you'll notice most of them have cameras and most of them have Skype. So we're actually at a society now where every TV has a camera. Who controls it, who does it, who watches it, and the same's true of all these things. So the discussion and debate has to be about what is being captured and how is it being shared.